Hello and welcome to the Changemakers Podcast, a JMU student-run podcast talking about activism, politics, and Gen Z. I'm your host this week, Ryan Caricofe, and today I'm talking to our executive producer, Zia Faqiri, our senior anchor, Olivia Roth, and our senior reporter, Cullen Munro. How are you all doing today?
Good. Doing great.
Doing great.
All right. So Changemakers is primarily focusing on Gen Z and their role in activism. Zia, can you talk a little bit about why you decided to focus on Gen Z activism?
Growing up in the age of technology, we notice a lot more things going on in our world, and that's kind of brought a lot of attention to different topics to people, specifically our generation who has always grown up with social media and always seen these events happening. So we wanted to focus on how technology has affected this generation's activism compared to past generations' activism and what's different there.
And Olivia, what would you say is the overall goal of this project?
I would say the overall goal is to mainly just, like Zia said, see how activism is different between the generations and kind of see how it affects our community, JMU, Harrisonburg, and just those around us.
Would you say there's currently a divide between Gen Z, the community, and JMU?
Well, I think there's a lot of Gen Z in our community because we go to JMU, but I do think overall, not just in our community, there's a divide between the generations, Gen X, baby boomers, etc.
And Cullen, how does Changemakers intend to display this project?
We're doing this in a few different formats. We're going to have a podcast and some segments, different stories. We're going to have interviews. We're going to throw it out to reporters, some long style formats, some shorter stories. But we're going to get this out on a lot of platforms that we think that our viewers are most likely to use. So you'll find us on a lot of different platforms. We'll be putting it on YouTube. We'll be putting it, out on Spotify and different podcast formats. And so, we also have social media. So there's going to be a lot of different ways that people can view this.
Zia, as you are the executive producer, what are your expectations for this project?
Truly, my expectations is to not only provide information to our community and how activism works in this generation, but also to learn ourselves how activism works, because we might have an idea of what works, but as we do more research, as we do more interviews, our perspectives may change. So I'm excited to learn about it, and I'm excited to put that information out for everyone.
This is a question I don't want to toss to all of y'all, but what are some challenges that you are expecting going into this project?
One challenge I think which I hope we overcome, is just gaining traction. We really want it to reach, like I said, the community and just as many people as possible to be the most informative.
I think one of the biggest challenges we're going to have is there's so much activism going on right now. We have to figure out what the most important things to talk about are. And that's going to be a challenge because there's so much going on. There's so many communities out there who are making a difference. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really excited to, interview the people that we're interviewing and find out as much as I can.
That's a great point.
And going off of what Cullen said, that's the thing about journalism, is you're working with a really wide topic and you're trying to narrow it down to the bits and bobs and how to translate that well into broadcast so that the audience can understand. I think another challenge that we're facing is the time crunch, definitely, and we have a schedule right now. We plan on, going with that schedule, but I do expect some setbacks.
Mm-hmm. Cullen, you talked most about the different formats. Have you ever worked on a project before that has used this many different formats before?
I'd say with my job, yes, but no, this is one of the first things, which makes me really excited because the more formats we use, the more I get to learn about those formats and how people interact with it. So it's exciting to me because it's a new thing.
There's another question I want to toss to all of y'all. What part of this assignment are you most excited for?
For me personally, being able to talk to a bunch of different passionate people and why they chose to be an activist in that topic, and learning more information about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Going off of that, I'm also just really excited to focus on so many different topics that are prominent in today's world, and just seeing how each thing goes.
I'm really excited to get in the loop and to learn more about what's going on, because there's so many things, it feels like you can't keep up with all of it today. But I think this is going to be a good format to really deep dive into some important topics.
That's all I had for you guys. The first episode of the Changemakers podcast will be coming out April 9th, and it will be coming out twice a week, every Sunday and every Wednesday. So you can look forward to more content for the next 4 weeks.